Hi everybody, welcome to DayZ, and I've actually got ahead of the game. If you're watching this video on the 22nd of November 2021 or the early part of the 23rd, then you're seeing this ahead of the game. So DayZ Update 115 releases on the 23rd, sometime probably in the afternoon they like to do that. So don't apply these files before that time, but I've actually done them in advance, testing them on my PC private experimental server. And I've got quite a lot of experience of making these files now. So what they are, if you're wondering, this is a ready-made pack of XML and a JSON file that you can upload to your PC, PlayStation or Xbox DayZ private community server, and then it will give you some cool things. So if you already know about these, this is basically the same as the one I've done for the last few updates. So it's based around building, hunting and stealth. So you've got things like trucks full of loot, you've got things like weapons that have got silencers, you've got a little bit more food, items spawn in pristine, there's loads of stuff. Go through the Readme to check it. And if you're familiar with them, you know, just to cut straight to the chase, and you're okay with installing them, basically what you want to do is you want to go to your server, you'll want to reset the XMLs to default. So you go back to like a blank slate for your XMLs. That isn't the same as wiping. You're not wiping your server, you're just resetting the XMLs to default. You upload these on top of the existing files in the folders they will be in, restart your server, and then the changes will then take effect. So if you know how to do that, great. If you don't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little tour of what you get with these files, and then I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how to install them. So here we go. So this is on my PC experimental server. So this is how I can play 115, you know, in advance and test these files. So well, I'll tell you what, let's have a look. You can see, so we've got the Lamass in our hand, but we've also, as you can see here, you've got the this is part of the game. You'll get the org. But if we make our way down here, you'll see vehicles spawn in complete. So here's an example of a Gunter. And if you open up the boot and you go in the boot, they spawn in with a load of stuff in the boot. So this particular example has got a SVAL, some magazines, it's got a Desert Eagle, it's got some silencers, it's got some food and drink, it's got a knife, and you've got a jerry can full of fuel. So the idea is that you can fuel up the vehicle, find a water pump or go to a river, fill up the radiator, and then you can crack on having an adventure without having to worry about it. Now there's less of these on this build than normal, but what I've found is that having too many can lead to server problems. So there's about, I think there's about 30 or something like that. So that's an example of one thing you get. Let's go up to Tizzy. Ooh, we spawned inside her. So here's an example of a complete truck. So trucks spawn in complete, and then if we have a look in the back, you've got lots of building materials. So there's loads of knives, hammers, spades, gloves, swords. All this. There's a tent in there. There's a watchtower kit. There's another tent. There's another tent. There's a halogen light. There used to be a generator. I think I took the generators out of these. Yeah, but there's some wire. So you know. So the idea is, again, you find a truck, you can drive it somewhere, and you can start building your base straight away. Actually, what I did want to show you on, let's move away from the truck, is as far as weapons goes, what should happen is weapons spawn in with silencers and scopes if they've got them. So the idea is if you find a gun, it will spawn in with a silencer and a scope on it. So it just makes killing zombies a little bit more easier. The idea really with this file, this Chernarus file, is that your players on your server can find really nice guns that have got scopes and got silencers on, and they'll find, you know, the magazines they find will be full of bullets, and the guns have magazines on them, all that sort of stuff. So you can get on with having a good time shooting zombies without having to, you know, loot up too much. Sure, you've got to find some food, and there's a bit more food and drink and stuff like that, but kind of that's the spirit of this update. The update is to, you know, have fun killing zombies. So what other things have we got? Let us then go to the shop. Now remember, this shop wasn't me, it was Justin and Don came up with this shop, but this is something slightly changed from one of the other updates. So this is Novi support, so we've got a shop at Novi and we've got a trader, but you may not know this, but in the last update, although we had the deadly mist around the shop, it wasn't actually deadly. And if you went into the mist, nothing happened. It was just a special effect. And a few people pointed this out to me, but I never had the heart really to tell everybody else. But this is deadly now. This is a proper static gas zone, just like you would get at Riffy, that will kill your players if they spawn in. And the reason why we have this is that it kind of makes it a little bit trickier to get to the shop. Because the shop is full of goodies, and you'll see I put the credits in the README for Justin, and so if we go in here, there you can see you've got the shop starting to spawn in all this wonderful stuff, these guns. So here we've got examples. You see how the guns have got silencers on already? See the rifles have got scopes on, and magazines. So look at all this sort of stuff. So this stuff, the shop will slowly kind of populate as time goes on. Also out here you've got what I call the trader truck. Now there's only one of these that spawns, and it spawns outside the shop, and this has some different bits in. This mainly has weapons. So you've got night vision goggles, you've got plate carriers, you've got asphalts, you've got the Dragonov, you've got the M4, there's the LAR in there, there's landmines, there's epinephrine, there's some building stuff as well, there's tents, there's Vega mag. So the idea with that is if somebody wanted to be a trader, they could wander around and use that truck as a trader truck. Also, if we then go over to the ski resort over here, and let's take off our mask. There we go. There's also this other truck. Now this truck is called the event truck, and the idea of the event truck was to try and solve one of the problems on console, is that it's because we don't have admin commands like I've got on this. So, but basically on this local server, I can spawn in whatever I like, wherever I like. I can fly around the map. But because we haven't got that on console, if you want to spawn a lot of items in at once, like for an event, for a PvP event or a PvE event, or you want loads of tents to spawn in, or loads of guns to spawn in, or whatever, loads of teddy bears to spawn in. It's quite difficult to do. So the idea was to have this, the event truck, which is kept separate, just like the trader truck. And this one, the idea is this one is like the server admin could use this to spawn lots of things. So to give you an example, this one, and this is the one that you'll get in the files, is full of stuff that we were having for a Halloween party. So there's yeah, so there's lots of dressing up stuff in here. Santa's hats, Santa's noses. There's flares, so you could fire them off. There's the pumpkin hats to put on. There's loads of flashbangs. There's vodka in here. There's chocolate. There's lights. There's party tents. There's Christmas lights, a megaphone, chocolate. So that was the idea of that. So the idea is, if you on console or PC, I guess, if you think, right, I want to run a shotgun event, you could go into the XML files. You could just fill this truck full of shotgun stuff, and then pick it up and then drive it where you want to go, because there's a jerry can with fuel in the back as well. And obviously, the beauty with the M3S trucks is that they only need fuel. They don't need any water. So that's kind of the idea of that one. Now we've still got some other things to see as well. So now, if you go to Devil's Castle, if we start off over here actually, so we can see Devil's Castle. Ooh, where's Devil's Castle? Oh, that's quite pretty actually. In fact, let's go to FreeCam so you can see it a bit better. Devil's Castle is now surrounded by spooky mist. So that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So it's quite interesting to wander around in there in the spooky mist. And if we go to Metallurge down here by the lake, what you'll see is there's a forest fire over there that starts, which is quite cool. And then also if you go to Chernarus and we spawn about here. Oh, I think I've spawned inside the scenery. There we go. So there's smoke coming out of the building that's been hit by the crashed aeroplane. Just a little thing. Now, I haven't gone mad with that sort of thing. There's only really those three things, and there's probably going to be lots of other stuff that people want to do, but I'll leave that for other custom files. Also, within these files, I haven't messed around with any custom building spawning, because at the time of doing this video we're not quite sure how it's going to work in terms of turning it on within the Nitrado console servers. Also, I'm pretty sure that people are going to want to do lots of different things, probably above and beyond the sort of stuff that I will do. So I will offer 115 custom gameplay JSON.mods separately from these kind of simple map mods. So that's kind of what you get with this, and that, you know, there's more loot, and it generally makes the server a friendlier place to be than it would normally. It's easier to survive, it's easier to build, it's easier to have fun. So how do you get these files? Well, if you look at the description, in the description below the video, there's a link to my GitHub, and it will take you straight to DayZ 115 Chernarus Building Hunting Stealth XML pack for console and PC. Okay, and what you'll want to do is you'll want to download the zip file of these files, and then you'll want to extract them, and then you'll get these files here. I think there's 10 files. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 files, one of them which is the Readme. So there's 9 files that will do this for you. And then the next thing you want to do is that when the 115 update has gone live, so it's probably going to be on or after the afternoon of the 23rd of November, you'll want to go to your server, and you'll want to go into it, and you'll want to go to the settings, and we want to reset the XMLs to default. And we want to do that so that our XMLs have got our files have got a nice blank slate to start off with. So there isn't going to be anything left over for any edits we've done before. Now remember, when you reset your XMLs to default, you're not wiping the server at all. All right, all we're doing is we're just resetting the XMLs to default. So nothing is getting deleted at all. So you go into settings, general. The internet seems to be going very, very slowly at the moment. And then you scroll down through here, and you'll see one that will say reset XML to default. So you tick that, you save, and you restart the server. And then all your types.xml, your events.xml, all that sort of stuff will then go back to default. And then when it's restarted, untick it and save the changes. Okay, and then restart the server again. And then all you've got to do is you just go to the file browser, go into your missions folder. So it's PS missions because this is a PlayStation server. It'd be XB missions for an Xbox server. It's just missions, DayZ missions, I think, on a PC server. On a PC server, the missions folder's down a few levels. But then you go into that, and we go into Chernarus, because remember, these just are for Chernarus. They're not for Livonia, Enoch. They're not for anything else. So you go into Chernarus. And then what you then do is simply upload on top of the existing files that are here, the files that we've got. So if we look at the files, so if we go into where we've done them. So the ones that would go in the first main missions folder are CFG effect area JSON, CFG event spawn, CFG limits definition, CFG spawnable types, map group pros, map group proto. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's those 6 files. So what you would do is you would just go to upload file here, and then we would make sure we're in the right folder, and then you just go on those. So on those files, map group proto, map group pros, config spawnable types, config some limits definition, config event spawns, config effect area JSON. Open that up, and that would then upload them on top of the existing files, and you would then go into the DB folder, and on top of the existing files here, you would upload the events, the messages, and the types. Open them. That will put them on the top of the existing ones. And once you've done that, simply restart the server. Okay, and then what will happen is, over time, depending on who's on your server, how many people are on your server, the old items will start to despawn, and the new items will start to respawn. All right, but it doesn't happen instantly because we haven't done a server wipe. If you wanted to have everything changed instantly, you'd have to do a server wipe. But we're not. But I don't recommend you do that because it gets rid of people's characters and gets rid of their bases and things like this. This is like a soft restart where we're just giving the server the new 115 files by doing the reset XML to default, and then we're adding my files, which are then going to do stuff. So now you know how to do it. The final thing we'll do is I'm just going to go through the Readme file in a little bit more detail so you can see quite a lot of what you're going to be getting as well. So first things first, Justin Pitcher and Don Sibley, they came up with the Trader Shop mod that I put into Novi support. So make sure you check them out on the Facebook group. Make sure you check out Don's YouTube channel and tell them that I came. I sent you. They do great stuff, and it's very, very good. Limited testing on a PC local server. So I have validated these files. I have tested them to the best of my knowledge. There still might be mistakes. So first off first, so you know how we talked about the event truck, field truck event has been added. So again, you can edit the XML, the CFG spawnable types for that to change what goes into it. You can also turn it off if you turn the event to 0. And the trader truck and the event truck, they're one-off spawns. So if you want them to come back again, set the event to 0, restart your server, set the event to 1, restart your server, and they'll respawn in their original locations. And you can do that for all the vehicles as well. So let's go down. So items spawn in pristine. So that's really good. So things last longer. We talked about the Spooky Devil's Castle, Forest Fire near Metallurg, and the smoke on the plane crash in Chernarus. The Witch's Night events. So bonfires should spawn in around the map. And it's not in the change notes, but there's another special seasonal event that happens that is very rare. Loads of trucks complete with building stuff. Trader shop at Novi. Gas event over the trader shop at Novi. Trader truck outside the shop, event truck at the ski resort. So cars. So Olga comes with so they all come with gas, petrol in them, compass, map, water bottle, can of drink, knife, whetstone, can opener, lighter, survival stuff as well. And the Olga has fishing rod, the Gunter has the blaze, the Sarka has the spade with some seeds, except the rusty versions which have different weapons. So the Ada has the M4A1, the Olga has the VSS, the Gunter has the Asphal, and the Sarka has the Dragonov. There's a few more potential helicrash sites. There's more LARs, more FALs, more SFALs, all the dynamic event stuff. I've tried to take off some of the non-weapons from the heli crashes. So the idea is that the things like the ghillie suits aren't on helicopter crashes anymore. So you've got more chance of finding a good weapon at a heli crash. There's more sterilizing stuff, for sterilizing bandages. There's more duct tape. There's more sharpening stones. There's more NBC stuff, especially the yellow stuff at hospital locations, medical locations, and fire stations. There's a lot more gas masks. There's a lot more gas mask filters. There's more of the gas pen, which is the the thing that cures you of gas poisoning, and they spawn in at medical places as well, not just in the gas at Riffy and the other place. There's more axes, there's more knives, there's more scout rifles, there's more FAMAS rifles, there's more AUGs, magazines spawn in with lots of ammo, there's more of them. Guns should spawn in with mags and suppressors. The only ones that don't is if something has internal ammo, like the Mosin or the shotguns, they don't come with any ammo. There's more suppressors, there's coloured variants of assault rifles and Mosins. There's a little bit more food, a little more drink, there's more wire, more collapsible barriers, hopefully they're the hexo barriers. More stone should spawn in along the coast, so it should be easier to make a knife. There's more large military bags, more vests, there's more tents, more night vision goggles, more 9-volt batteries, more medical supplies. You've got things like swords, pumping helmets, weed, alcohol, cigarettes, oil, defibrillators, and the Easter eggs. Now remember, some of these things don't work, but they're fun to have anyway. And the messages file gives you an 8-hour server restart. Right, so there we go, peeps. Hopefully you find the files useful. And as I say, don't be using this before 1.15 goes live. And I will do separate files using the gameplay JSON files where we start to play around with base clipping, endurance, stamina, weather, and custom building locations. But that will be in a separate video, because I think people are going to want to do their own things as far as endurance and clipping, all that sort of stuff. But lots of people enjoy having these files. There we go. So hopefully if you found that useful, if you have it, like, want to see more, the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.